There was actually a great question this morning that I didn't get a chance to discuss. I actually had it pulled up and I forgot about it, but I think it's a discussion worth having. It's regarding Bitcoin's 50-week moving average. Right now, we are toying with this. What does it mean if we start closing below here? Is this a bad sign? We'll definitely discuss that in this video, but do want to talk about a few other things here as well. Actually, Cardano ADA is being highlighted in an event by Grayscale today that we should talk about. And we also need to talk about a few things going on with the Midnight Network as well. So again, if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. Let's talk about some of these other things before we get to that 50-week moving average, because these should be pretty quick. So Cardano is actually going to be highlighted by Grayscale at an event going on today. This is actually taking place at Flatiron in NYC. It's the big building that kind of comes to a point. I've never been. Looks pretty cool though. But at this event, they're actually going to be talking about these different assets in the crypto 5. So you're talking about Bitcoin, Solana, Cardano, Ethereum, and XRP. Actually, all of these have their own slots here. So this is going to be an opportunity for Cardano and ADA to actually be highlighted by Grayscale themselves. And I don't know whether this event is public or not, or if this is just to institutional players, but it's very nice to obviously to see Cardano having exposure out there, because this is exactly what you need. And this is a reason why I think, again, as we get into bigger times of adoption, you could see, ADA get some big adoption itself, because right now the Cardano ecosystem, I would say, is one of the hotter ecosystems out there. And maybe you disagree, but when we think about it, we have a bunch of major developments taking place. We have obviously Ouroboros, Leos coming. We have Midnight, which I'll get to that in just a moment. But there are big steps forward that are being taken, big tests that are taking place for the Cardano ecosystem right now as well. Now, that being said, when we look at Midnight itself, there was actually about 200,000 direct claims when it came to Night token itself, and there are actually over 1 million addresses currently mining Night token. So we're actually seeing a big step forward from the number of addresses claiming to the number of addresses mining. And again, maybe this has to do with some people having assets on exchanges, but it's a step forward nonetheless. Again, this being said, we are also getting big support by many of these KYC sites. Again, Kraken Gate. This is from Sebastian Guillaume, which I believe is is he the CTO for Midnight? I think, yeah, CTO for Midnight. And more distributions coming. Large dApps, MinSwap are going to be distributing tokens. So that it's very nice to see this type of support. And again, while some people are kind of in the middle here saying, oh, it doesn't matter, this is a big nothing burger, sometimes you see these things slowly ramp up, just as we've seen with some other ecosystems that have in fact launched. Now let's talk about this 50-week moving average. I'm sure this is what a lot of people are focused on and paying attention to right now. So this was actually a comment from Mr. Bro Knowledge. Appreciate the question. He said, what if we close below our 50-week moving average, then shutdown ends after? Then what? Thoughts? So great question. And here's the thing. A lot of people are pointing to this 50-week moving average as, oh, this is the make or break. This is the thing where if we close below here, we're headed into a bear market. And the problem is we have had closes below this 50-week moving average before in bull market cycles, and it hasn't mattered. We have to go back a ways to actually see this. First of all, we did actually have this market cycle. We had a period from August 2023 all the way through, September of 2023, August 14th. So almost like a month of weekly candles closing below here. And at this time, if you guys remember back in August, mid-August of 2023, that's when there were speculations about SpaceX selling their Bitcoin. We were fighting regulatory scrutiny. There was discussions about certain assets being considered securities. We were fighting a lot of stuff at that time. So again, it was one of those, not really a black swan event, but kind of a black swan event, if you will. At least we'll call it a black swan stir, if that makes sense. Rewind to the prior market cycle. If you guys remember on the China crash, we actually came down. Bitcoin actually closed a weekly candle below this 50-week moving average in July. And we obviously rallied to those new exciting highs of 69K. Rewind back to the COVID crash. We actually, again, were closing weekly candles for a long time below this 50-week moving average. Didn't mean that the market cycle was dead. Now, here's the thing is, I think a lot of these questions are popping up because we are around what would be the historic top from a timeline standpoint. And again, this is going back to what I've been saying for years now. There would be some sort of big shakeout event around the historic top to confuse people, to keep people capitulate, to think that the market cycle is over. And then once that's done, you basically extend to new highs, and the 4-year cycle is dead, and people are crying and complaining because they got caught sidelined, if that makes sense. If we do start closing candles below here, what we really need to watch for actually is this 100-week moving average. Now, the problem with this is when we look here, this is about 15% down. Obviously, nobody wants to shed 15%. But when we look back, a lot of times this 100-week moving average, closing candles below there, is a pretty big confirmation. All right, you guys can see this obviously back here in May of 2022, which we're obviously well into the bear market by that point. But looking back through other cycles, same thing right here, November of 2018, obviously a long time in this flat period below our 50-week moving average before we in fact got that confirmation. But that's what we, I think, really need to watch for. But if I had to point to one specific thing, going back to this bull market peak indicators, the pi cycle top indicator has hit every single market cycle. Right now, just so everybody's aware, we're a 0 out of 30 on the bull market peak indicators. The average progress on this is 47.37%, showing that we're not even halfway to the bull market peak per se, at least by their indicators. But with the pi cycle top indicator, what this is actually showing is the distance to hit for BTC, 104,255. So you're talking about BTC actually being all the way up at $205,000 currently before this pi cycle top indicator hits. And just to show you guys what this looks like historically speaking, back here when we actually got this cross taking place, it was at our top in 2011. If we fast forward further here, we got a little baby cross back here in March of 2023, but then we got a bigger confirmed cross here in November of 2023, right as we were hitting the top. Same thing, fast forward to 2017, we physically got our cross around the top in December of 2017. Physical cross right here actually in March of 2021. Obviously, we know we had the COVID crash and then the retest, so it didn't show the late market cycle top, but obviously that was the top for pretty much the top for BTC, if that makes sense. And right now there's this huge gap. What do we do with that, right? So either the indicators no longer are right, or liquidity flowing to exchanges doesn't matter anymore. I mean, again, that's the thing is like you could pick any one specific thing and try to make the case for the topping in, but when you look at everything in totality, it's suggesting the exact opposite. That's a very that's my long drawn out explanation for this. So the thing is, the government shutdown concluding could be a send moment for the market. Maybe it's ETFs, and I keep going back to this, right? We have so many bullish things that are still coming here in Q4 that it's hard to believe that this has already been a top event, that we're already going to see us fall to insane bear market lows. And again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a prophet, but these are the conversations that we need to have discussions about. Okay. And again, this is something that Elliott Trades pointed to as well. He said every single time the year after the halving, Bitcoin closed red in September and big green in October. 2025 was the opposite. And yet people want you to believe we are exactly reliving the 4-year cycle. The problem is if everybody's thinking that it's a 4-year cycle, do you actually think that we're all that smart? Or do you think that there are bigger entities that know that that's what we're thinking and they're taking advantage of that before they send it higher? Just some thoughts, all right? So I wanted to share that with you guys. I appreciate you as always. And I don't want to keep talking about the 4-year cycle and it being over, but I think these are the discussions that we definitely need to have now from a timeline standpoint. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.